Hey everybody! As you can see on the screen, the community tier list has arrived and I'm finally taking the time to make a video and explain it all to you guys. We pulled together 30 top players to make tier lists and then evened out all the character ratings, and well, here we are with the highest quality tier list possible. I'm going to go from top to bottom explaining the character's strengths and weaknesses on a surface level to give you a better idea of why they are where they are with as little bias as possible. Also, I can say that Lethal League Blaze is certainly a game where all characters are competitively viable, so even if things are a little bit tougher for Latch, he can still definitely beat Candyman in a competitive setting. With that being said, nothing fancy, here we go. Starting off with the poster child of Lethal League, we have Candyman. If you play Candyman for more than 15 minutes, I think you can get a good grasp on what makes him so dominant. His angles are insanely brutal, especially at mid to high speeds, with his down in particular being noteworthy since it can easily slip behind an opponent and knock them out. His special on top of that is also one of the most threatening, forcing your opponent to take a 50-50 in some scenarios, and if you're caught in the air and Candy chooses to special, you're basically a dead man walking. His floatiness allows him to bunt the ball up to 4 times, I believe, allowing him to fly around the stage with ball control, and with wall teleport, he can get from one side of the stage to the other instantaneously. The best way to shut Candy down is to get in front of him, but it's not an easy task to do if the Candy utilizes his teleport and floatiness effectively. That being said, Candy does generally have to defend on the ground, since if he is caught in the air, that floatiness is a double-edged sword, and against most angles, he can get screwed. Only 0.02 behind the king is Switch, and for pretty good reason. Switch naturally breaks the rules of the game with his neutral swing, since his up angle is the only neutral that goes behind the character. This allows him to endlessly pass the ball to himself, forcing his opponent to apply pressure or attempt to steal. His special quite possibly might be the best in the game too, releasing the ball at an excruciating angle, and he's even able to choose which direction he fires it in first if he top flips or overhead smashes, which creates a true 50-50 if you're not positioned correctly. Also, the robot's thin, and it's very hard to downbunt him if he catches the ball very close. The biggest weakness Switch has is when he's locked facing the corner. Since his up angle goes behind him, if the Switch is not careful, they're able to get down bunted despite the thin hitbox, or baited into a parry. Doombox is the boss character of the game, as I like to say, and the community has shown a lot of love towards him in the past couple months. Though he's a very unorthodox and difficult character to play, his size allows him to put endless amounts of pressure on his opponent. A Doombox on the screen practically forces you to approach situations in a different way, unless you want to get smacked or pushed, since he is the only character in the game that can move his opponent. Doombox also trades his jumps for flight, allowing him to have great ball control in defensive scenarios that a lot of other characters dream of having. That being said, his angles can be tough to kill with at times, and his hurt box is just as big as his hitbox. Sonata's an interesting case, since she plays by the same rules as most characters but approaches situations in a different way due to her triple jump. She's able to have much more airtime than most of the cast, allowing her to safely combo the ball away from her opponent and set up a kill option. Speaking of kill options, her special may be the most versatile in the game, allowing you to practically do anything you want with it. And of course, she's got solid angles. She is certainly a character you've got to be willing to put time into though, since she rewards creativity a lot more than most of the cast. That, and down angle sometimes doesn't confirm, but don't worry, you can fix that with a well-timed special. The Shoto of Lethal League is considered a high tier, so if you're looking for an easy pickup character with a straightforward game plan, then look no further than Raptor. His angles are middle of the road, not being particularly deadly, but not bad at all. This character really shines when he has meter, since his special ability allows him to not only delay the ball, but also choose any angle he wants outside of spikes. He is the smallest character in the game, which can help him out of some scenarios, but in others, it makes it hard for him to contest heavy ball control characters. Getting to the top of the screen is tough for the little man, and to be honest, nothing outside of his special can really push him further as of now. I like to call Grid the puff of this game since he's definitely high tier, but not a lot of people utilize him. His angles are phenomenal, and his special isn't too shabby either. Imagine Raptor's special if he could teleport, and you got Grid. Grid's also the closest to Doombox in terms of hitboxes, so you bet your ass he's able to challenge a lot of things that most other characters can't. And, despite being a big body, he's floaty, although he does have a small jump height which can make it hard to contest somebody in the air or continue combos. That, and of course I have to bring up the fact that big hitboxes also means a big hurt box. DICE has seen incredible optimization in the past couple of months, mainly with Super Jump and the new optimized ceiling glitch that allows much more creativity. In my mind, he's the perfect middle-of-the-road 9 to 5 no bullshit character. For the most part, what you see is what you get with DICE. His angles are pretty extreme, with his up in particular being used for loads of ball control and offensive baits. His special can also be good offensively, allowing him to parry bait and set up, but I will say in most cases, it's reactable. Also, though he doesn't look like it, he's a very heavy man and falls much faster than the rest of the cast. Nitro is an unpopular pick, and despite being on the lower side of the tier list, that doesn't mean he can't get shit done. He arguably has the best low speed game out of the entire cast, and is insanely combo heavy, making it near impossible to approach him if he's got 3 to 4 bars a meter, since he's got one of the most versatile specials in the game next to Sonata. Now, much like DICE, Nitro drops like a rock, and isn't a straightforward character. You definitely need to push the envelope, or you might find yourself hitting a couple of roadblocks. Toxic is the queen of Shine City, and the closest thing to a trap-styled character you're gonna get in this game. Though her angles aren't on the higher end of the scale, her special allows her to create pressure from anywhere on the stage, forcing her opponents to tap charge, and will guarantee a kill at higher speeds if she knocks you with a parry. She can even hide inside her spray if done properly, allowing her to be safe from all potential threats. Toxic can even cling to the wall, which can set up useful ball control baits from time to time. She is a difficult character to play at times though, since her movement isn't liked by a lot of people, and because her angles aren't cream of the crop, you need a strong fundamental game to succeed as this character. If you're looking for speed, well then Jet's your girl. She's easily the fastest character in the game, allowing her to create great amounts of pressure while maintaining ball control. She can also hover, which is not on Doombox's level of flight, but allows her to stay mid-air much longer than most of the cast. Her special is where she really shines, since it slows down the pace of the game even if the ball is flying around at crazy high speeds. When the ball is bubbled up, she can do a multitude of options that push her mix-up game to the next level. Her biggest drawback though is easily her angle spread. If Jet catches the ball, you can easily get to a position where her angles won't pose a threat to you. So, if you're picking up this character, note that you'll need to use special to change the game in your favor most of the time. A lot of new players like picking up Dust because of his design, and honestly, who can blame them? I like Dust. He's cool, and he's got an incredible angle spread on most stages. Though he doesn't jump very high, he's got a parachute that allows him to stay in the air, which is funny because he can drop like a piano out of a Looney Tunes cartoon if he so pleases. Though his angles are good, no disputing that for the most part, they are certainly map dependent. On longer stages, if your opponent knows where to stand, it can be hard to pose a threat with neutrals. Also, his special is the worst in the game, bar none. He frame traps himself every time he uses it, allowing his opponent to run up and steal with no threat. As the wise man Cooking Tiger said, there's no reason to pretend that Latch doesn't have flaws, because he does. He's at the bottom for a reason, but let's focus on his strengths first. I might come off as a little biased when I say this, but Latch's movement feels amazing to control, and he doesn't feel clunky in the slightest. His spikes are also alright, allowing him to keep ball control a lot of the time. The reason why he's at the bottom though is because of his angles and special. Latch's angles, simply put, don't rotate in a deadly manner. If you know where to stand, you'll be safe. His special, though not as bad as Dust's, is pretty slow, and gives your opponent a lot of time to react, which of course, is not good for you. Alright, that's all the characters, and I don't really have an outro written down, so take care everybody, hope this helped.